What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Crushing It. I have an amazing guest here over to my left. I think I'm pointing the right way in the layout. We got Mark from Marcky Sports. We've been talking this last little bit, trying to hammer down a collab time, and well, we made it, man. Marky does some outstanding Broncos content of his own, so to my audience, go give him a look, a listen, a watch, all that fun jazz, and Mark, we got a lot to get into, man. Huge Commanders win that went down to the wire, just an absolute nail biter. I don't remember a game that intense. Well, I guess all of this season, but this whole season's been intense. But that game in particular, man, going to overtime, you snap your overtime losing streak that the Broncos have had pretty much since 2015, it feels like. I think they're 0 for 5 in their last 5 overtime games, or the number was something like that. You get this one here. It's a hard-fought win, man. I mean, how are we feeling after that?
Well, I don't know if you can see on the camera. Do you see these gray hairs over here, Miles? That's how I'm feeling. I probably got about 50 more since that game. My blood pressure. Thank God we had the bye week before, man, to kind of settle us down. But yeah, it was a nerve-wracking game. It was crazy. Just like you said, it feels like every single game this year has been like that. But I'm never going to apologize for being 10-2. It's been an amazing season, man. Broncos keep rolling. 9 straight victories. You know, it's just all of these things. It's almost like I'm still kind of in shock about how this season has gone so far. So I'm really looking forward to the last 5 games and seeing how this team continues to roll.
No, and I'm right there with you when it comes to almost kind of being in shock. Because I mean, we were treated to 4 of some of the best seasons of football with Peyton Manning. Of course, the last year he didn't play exactly the way that you would have liked, but you still go out on top with the chip. You know, no one can take away that ring, no matter how bad Peyton played that year. But you know, after just kind of 10 years of toiling in purgatory, starting all these different stopgap guys and putting your hopes in, whether it was Simeon, Lynch, or, you know, we could go on and on the starting quarterback list. And what we'll talk about Bo. We'll get there. But it just, to have a team that's this competitive, that's this damn good, it's so refreshing, man. Because last year was kind of the quiet stepping stone year, and now this year, I mean, dude, this team is legit. I know nobody else in the media wants to give them their props. I was listening to Colin Cowherd earlier, and that was my first mistake, but I mean, they're moving the goalposts, honestly. Like, we look at Kansas City last year. You know, the whole narrative was, oh, they're finding ways to win. No, kind of no matter who they were beating in all of those one-score games they played. Denver does it this year, and they're like, oh, they're overrated. Oh, Bo's not. You know, like, Cowherd was saying we should go find a new fucking quarterback next year.
Insanity, man.
Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. No, it's crazy, man. I just think, you know, and it's funny because you even see it among a lot of the local media members too, right?
Yeah.
Maybe more in the YouTube space or on, I mean, Twitter is kind of it could be a really great place to be and it could be a terrible place to be. But I think people, man, they're so quick to forget just how bad things were.
Absolutely.
Right. And all those years, like we even had a few years in, like, I don't know if it was the Fangio year, because they all kind of like run past each other, and that was just all so bad. But there was a year where, like, we would always kind of be close and competitive in games, and then we end up finding a way to lose. And it's like people don't realize that, dude, a lot of NFL games are going to be close. It's going to come down to a few games. And the difference is the great teams win those games consistently, and the really bad teams lose those games consistently, i.e. the Giants this year, for example.
Absolutely.
And then the mediocre teams will win some of them and lose some of them. So I don't really care who the opponent is. Like, you're going up against professionals that are, you know, always going to be playing with pride, that are always going to scheme you up. And the fact that we're consistently winning, I don't know how much more legit people think, you know, we need to be, but I like it personally. I don't know how you feel about this, Miles, but I like it when the national media is kind of dogging on the Broncos and they're not hyping them up. And, you know, they're calling them fake or, you know, whatever it is. So, hey, keep on doing that, and Broncos keep on winning, and we're going to be in good shape, man.
You took the words right out of my mouth, man. Just absolutely. And I'm with you there. You know, I like the disrespect because it's gonna make winning the goddamn Super Bowl all that much better, man. Come on.
It sure will.
On. And even then, you know, Bo Nix will be hoisting that trophy, he'll be putting on a ring, and they'll still be asking, hey, are the Broncos good? And you know what?
Yeah,
Keep that same energy when we go on a deep playoff run, man. Ooh, boy.
1,000%,
So
1,000%.
I think that it's time to kind of start getting into this Commanders game a little bit. Maybe break a couple of things down, what we liked, what concerned us a little bit, things we kind of hope to not see snowball. So something that I was thinking about, last year we kind of saw this defense, I don't want to say fall off of a cliff, but there was a decline in the way that the defense was playing. I think of that Cleveland game. I think of the Bengals game last year, and credit to all those teams, kind of in that way with how things were going. But, and something I kind of want to pick your brain about here. I personally think that this is just kind of a one-off anomaly, East Coast game off of the bye. And I think most teams this year have looked a little sluggish off of the bye. And it is any given Sunday. The Rams just got taken down by the Panthers, but I do want to hear your thoughts here. Is this more just a one-time thing, or is this a cause for concern?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, I think this one was definitely more of a one-time thing. I think it's a very different unit overall than it was last season. I think we're a lot deeper at key positions. What really screwed us last year was the just completely inept play at inside linebacker.
Corner
I
depth.
think having Dre Greenlaw back now, and he's really starting to play well is big. Obviously, we're really deep at corner. Having Jade Barron as someone that kind of plays everywhere. Hufanga is just unbelievable in terms of his versatility. So I'm not overly worried about it. I think it was a one-off. And I think something that didn't get talked about really enough was the Cliff Kingsbury and VJ backstory, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, VJ was the defensive coordinator for Cliff when he was in Arizona. And man, I'll tell you what, like, I was kind of surprised teams didn't attack us that way sooner, getting the ball out, getting us in space, forcing us to tackle. So it was really good that it happened. I think the Broncos will adjust, but the fact that it was put on tape now and they kind of realize where they need to be better at in those types of games is really important. But yeah, I'm not overly concerned about it at all right now.
I'm not concerned until that is kind of my mantra here. I'm not concerned until it becomes a trend. And something that is trending in the right direction, though, that's actually kind of a perfect segue. I didn't even try right there. I didn't even what have you. But
Nice.
a positive trend that I really want to kind of hammer in on this game was Bo Nix. I mean, we're stacking good games on top of each other here, coming out of that bye week, or before the bye, after the bye. I mean, 295 against the Kansas City Chiefs leads that big game-winning drive, is dropping dime after dime, comes into Washington, and outside of that one bad pick to Bobby Wagner, which I just don't think Nix fully saw him. I think he might have been staring down Brian a little too long. I think he was late on the route. Really the one kind of black mark on that game for me personally for Nix. But I mean, you've got damn near back-to-back 300-yard games stacked together. Nix throws another touchdown, and I mean, he was just... It looked like on a lot of those throws, especially when he was setting his feet, which is kind of something that I've been hyper-focused on lately, is like, because that was the big hammer on Bo, was the footwork, especially early in the year. Now we're starting to see him kind of take those week-to-week progressions. He's finding guys. He's hanging with concepts more consistently now, and I think we're starting to see that consistency from Bo now, and I think that's going to be key as the Broncos push for that number one seed. But Bo looked really good last night, or the Sunday night.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was good to see him stack more games. I thought he was a lot calmer, especially early in the game, calmer in the pocket. Again, yeah, you still saw some of the ugly footwork kind of come, but it's a lot more few and far in between, which is good. But man, I'll tell you something about Bo that like I love. I think one of his greatest strengths could also be something that's been hampering him a little bit this year, and that's just because he doesn't take sacks, right? Which is a really good thing. But I think sometimes that gets him into trouble, right? With his feet being off, or he's kind of looking to escape and maybe throws off platform a little bit. But I'll take that anytime than a quarterback that's getting sacked a lot. Absolutely. And he's gotten so much better in his drops, his having his feet kind of follow his eyes, stepping up in the pocket a little bit more, being a little bit more calm. So I like it. And I think a big reason for that too is when Sean Payne gets the play in early within the play clock, and he can kind of settle in and he's not overly rushed at the line, everything else seems a lot more calm. So it's a little bit frustrating that like Bo's really starting to come into his own now. And we don't have J.K. Dobbins. It would have been nice to have
Oh
both at the same time.
man.
But
And we're gonna get to that.
nonetheless, yeah, nonetheless, I do believe that I thought he was good. I thought he was super accurate, decisive. And I really liked how he utilized his legs when he needed to at the right times, which I think is going to be a major key moving forward too.
Absolutely. Well, and that's something that Bo did really well last year. Maybe too much, some would have argued last year, and not enough this year, is bringing those legs into the equation because it feels like often on just whatever plays, maybe he takes a check down rolling or what have you. And I think this is helped by him stepping up in the pocket more. But those rush lanes start opening up, man, and he's able to find just kind of these nice little chunks, some dents in here, 5 yards, 3 yards, positive yardage with a quarterback that's that mobile. And we've seen it at times this year. I think of the Houston game, like Bo Nix can break big runs when he wants to. And it's a kind of this hidden variable in this offensive equation that I think can give defensive coordinators nightmares, especially if their defensive personnel, if they aren't containing their rush lanes well. And we saw what can happen with athletic quarterbacks versus bad rush lanes against Washington. Marcus Mariota, man, was picking his spots, and Bo can do the same thing as well. You did mention J.K. Dobbins. That actually kind of leads me into another kind of where I was going next with that. As happy as I am with Bo Nix, and he's kind of putting this offense on his back right now because without J.K. Dobbins, man, this is 2 weeks in a row where it's been almost no juice from this running game. We saw a couple of nice plays. RJ Harvey does go for 2 touchdowns, and I've got a viewer and a graphics guy that's very happy about that. Same person, by the way. But I mean, we're still not seeing, I think, that development from RJ Harvey, and some of that is probably from these inconsistent carries. I don't think he's had more than 14 carries in a game all year, and I think that came against Cincinnati. I mean, with this running game here, are we just still kind of sorting through these growing pains, kind of getting RJ used to looking between the tackles, picking a lane, and just putting his foot in the ground, or do you think this is maybe some sort of bigger issue, or are we really just working some kinks out here? Kind of, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's more the latter. I mean, it hasn't been enough of a sample size for me to say like, oh, we need to bring in a replacement or find somebody that can come in and bring the juice. But like looking back on, I did a film review on RJ Harvey's. I looked at all 13 carries, but I only highlighted I think about like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
And what I had noticed is like there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad, and then there's some that just weren't. There wasn't really anything else that you can do. But the reason I feel optimistic from a personnel standpoint, in a sense of like, I think our offensive line is just really good at run blocking. I watched RJ Harvey as a rusher in college. I thought he was really good. I thought he was something that he was going to pick up in the NFL pretty quickly. In fact, I didn't think he'd pick up catching the ball and being the receiving back that he is. So that's good. So I feel good about that. The thing about that I don't really feel all that good about really is Sean Payton's lack of commitment to the run game.
Absolutely.
Like I feel like with him, if it doesn't pop early, he'll just go away from it. And sometimes he'll come out and say like they had different fronts, like we called the run play and they checked out of it. He had said that after last game, like they had thought that they were going to get into nickel a lot more than they did, and they liked their ability to run the ball against their nickel. But when they were in base, they checked out of a lot of run plays. But it's still like, man, there's going to be situations later in the year as the weather gets worse, as the games get more and more important going into the playoffs, is it doesn't really matter like what they're in. You need to be able, like if the defense knows that you're going to run it, I still want to see us be able to run the ball and have success doing it. Maybe that's just me because I grew up in the Terrell Davis, John Elway days. Like I would love it if the Broncos ran the ball 40 times a game. Like I would love it. But it's not, it's not realistic in this new day and age. But yeah, I think I just think it's one of those things, man, where it just has to be good enough at this point, and we could all be happy. But it definitely needs more work now, and that's why I would like to see them call maybe some more designed runs for Bo to kind of keep the defense honest, and I'd like to see them maybe mix in some more Marvin Mims in the run game again, just to change the looks up and get some dynamic plays there, but.
No, absolutely. I actually really like that you bring up Marvin Mims, especially because we kind of saw him sort of adopting that gadget role last year, the guy that you could just kind of sprawl out into the backfield a la Darren Sproles a little bit and just kind of do whatever the hell you wanted with him, whether it was toss him a screen out to the perimeter. And now that you have, a Pat Bryant that likes blocking out that way, that's an option for sure. Or just straight handing him the ball off. We've seen Marvin have some pop with the ball in his hands. He's a home run hitter, as small as he is, whether it's in the punt return game or whether you just give it to him on an end around. But I am with you there as well that Sean does absolutely need to further commit to running the ball, and I think that's kind of been the real thing that kind of gets Broncos fans to rally. Don't want to say against him, but definitely kind of against what he's doing a little bit, because we have not seen that consistent commitment to it. And I'm kind of there with you where, like I grew up not quite with TD and Elway and, that specific era of football, but almost kind of the back end of it where it's still, Kubiak running this, West Coast zone run kind of offense. CJ Anderson and Ronnie Hillman or Devontae Booker are still getting, 25 to 30 carries a game, give or take on the situation, what have you. And it's, we've seen backs get better as games go along. I mean, that was Saquon Barkley's MO last year. That's been Jonathan Taylor's MO this year when the Colts have actually gave him the damn ball. And, there's RJ Harvey isn't going to get the experience that he needs, especially between the tackles without those reps. So I'm right there with you in that the Broncos absolutely need to commit more to that. With Sean Payton specifically, with that needs to commit more to it, and like you said as well, even if they know you're going to run the ball, especially in January, again, as you said, as the weather, is getting bad, running games win playoff games, man. If you have a good running game, that's how you put the dagger in teams right there, is at least a solid running game. It doesn't have to be outstanding by any means, but I mean, even if we're pumping 3.5 per carry, that's, you're gonna find a first down one way or another before you hit fourth down, before you got to punt the ball. And for the Broncos, I mean, I think that's been almost an issue this last couple of years here. Not the running game in particular, but I think sometimes it's felt like that in some situations these past 2 years, they go into fourth quarters with a lead, and then it almost feels like sometimes they're the ones that have the problems closing out the games. More last year than anything, especially in those one-score games where there was that less consistency with just everything on the offense. But to bring my point to a close here, I'm rambling a little bit here. I mean, if you want to close out games, especially in January, and you want to make that deep playoff run, I mean, there's got to be more of a commitment. At 100%.
Yeah. And the thing is too, is like, we haven't really had a lot of situations this year where we've had a big lead, right? I mean, I think about maybe 2 games, right? The Bengals game and the Cowboys game.
And the Cowboys.
And in both of those games, we had JK, but and then I guess I did really like the last 4-minute drive that we had against the Raiders the first time we played them, even though that game was overall terrible. Like, we got the ball with 4 minutes left and never gave it back. But, we haven't really been in those situations where, like, okay, you got a 2-possession lead in the fourth, or maybe you're up 7 with like 5 minutes left, and you just need to run some clock and pound the rock. And we haven't really been in that situation to do it. So I really hope this week against the Raiders, man, not just for my sanity and for my blood pressure, but just really because I'd love to be in that game, fourth quarter, kind of a blowout, and we could just get a lot of running reps. We could really get RJ Harvey the reps that he needs, because it's different, man, with running backs. You don't get reps in training camp when you're not going full speed and getting hit. You don't really get those reps in practice. Like, the true reps for running backs is when they're actually running.
The game.
So that's one big thing. Aside from a W against the Raiders this week, that's one big thing I hope to see.
No, absolutely. We certainly hope that Club Dub is absolutely lit like a Christmas tree coming out of this Raiders game. So obviously we've kind of got everyone's got their nitpicks with the Broncos, us Broncos fans especially, because we're the ones actually watching the games. Don't talk to the national media about it. So I want to come off of the Broncos as a whole here and maybe start talking some of these upcoming games, maybe some playoff positioning, and let's start there. Pats, they've got I think another game before they go into their bye, or maybe they're just on a bye this week now, coming off a Monday night.
Yep.
So Broncos are going to have to pick up that half a game against the Raiders. Broncos do hold the tiebreaker. I really think that this, AFC 1 and 2 seed, I think that's going to come down to New England and Denver at this point. And Denver definitely has the tougher of the two schedules, but I also think that Denver is the better of these two teams, no matter what anyone is going to want you to think. It's
Yep.
I really think we are to a point where the playoffs are going to come through either Mile High or Gillette. It's just how do we feel about the Broncos here? We've seen them come off of the bye week. We've seen how teams have come off of the bye this season, and we've seen, some of these teams that have gotten those first round byes that come out and they lose and they look sluggish. And so where are you on this? And I think we might agree on this, but I think DNVR was talking about this too. Like, would you rather have the bye, or would you rather go in a wild card as the 2 seed, but you've still got that momentum rolling? You don't have the bye to kind of break up everything going on. Like where are you on that?
Yeah, dude, I'm so back and forth on this, man, because like, I see both sides of it, right? And I think I get a little bit scarred from 2012. What do we have, a 11 game or 12 game win streak at that point or something like that going into the playoffs? We were like the hottest team. And then, we had the bye week. We ended up, losing that horrifying game against the Ravens.
Double overtime.
But then you see a lot of other teams, man, where they just, and then you look at like Detroit last year, but everyone for Detroit was saying like, it's a good thing for them because they were really banged up. But they came out flat and they were still really injured and it didn't work. But then, the Chiefs were the number 1 seed. They ended up going every time that they were the one. So it's like, I look at it like the 1 seed's great because you're playing 50% less games.
Exactly.
Right. And everything's going to be at home. But on the flip side, just like you said, you could kill that momentum. You can come out flat. It's hard to keep. Like, it's hard to almost, because coming off of a regular bye week is one thing, but coming off of a bye to like ramp up for a play, team doesn't really have experience doing that. So I'm kind of like, because I keep going back and forth, I keep just saying, you know what, however way it works out, it's going to work out. And I just try to take it week by week because, who knows? Like if Kansas City ends up being the 7, right?
Right.
Then you're like, oh, I don't really want the 2 seed, but it's going to be inevitable if you play them at the 1. If other teams, so kind of how matchups work too. But
right.
Yeah, I'd like to get your thoughts on it because again, I've thought about this so much and I see the pros and cons to both to where I'm just like, you know what, maybe we'll see how I feel about it. Like, in a month when we're like a week or 2 away.
No, for sure. So I'm there with you as well, kind of weighing the pros and cons. I've been a little back and forth on it myself as well. And so this is, I think coming out of the bye as well, this is, I think I've got a little more of a stronger opinion on it right now. And this is really going to come from, and we talked about this earlier, like the adjustments that we're going to see and obviously what we would get on a hypothetical wildcard bye week. But I felt like the Broncos were still able to go out and find their mojo, maybe defensively, not so much, but the offense looked like they hadn't lost a step out of Kansas City coming out of the bye. I think once you get the defense kind of tuned back to where they are and you make those adjustments, because we have said, there's going to be the tape. And I really think too that at times in that Kansas City game, the Chiefs put some similar film to what Washington did, just kind of more en masse in Washington's case. And, Mahomes was getting rid of the ball insanely quick there for those first couple of possessions when they came to Mile High. I really think, and especially in a playoff like this where it's wide open, where anyone in the AFC I feel like can take anybody, I feel like you want the playoffs to go through your house no matter what. And I think the Broncos getting the bye and that 1 seed that's best outcome for sure.
Mhm.
Certainly, in my opinion as well. Because it gives you time to reflect. Hey, where were we weak going into the playoffs? And if the Broncos can come out of the bye offensively, or out of that hypothetical bye, just as good offensively as they were coming out of this last bye, and just have their defense ready to go, I think that's gonna work magic. I think Denver needs the bye because if the playoffs go through Denver, nobody wants to play in Denver. Nobody wants to play in
No,
Denver in January at all.
no.
And the Broncos we're still undefeated at home, man. There's no place like home, especially in
Yep.
the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, I think in an ideal world, man, like that Week 18 game against the Chargers is like almost a pointless game,
Yeah.
right? Like I would like to have the number one seed wrapped up by that time, and then you can kind of I know essentially it's like you would get really two weeks off, but this is maybe just me being superstitious, but like every time, like let's say we just win out,
Yeah.
right? What would that be? What would that be like?
That
It
would
would end.
be,
We'd end
what
up.
would that,
Well,
15
we'd
and
end up
2?
being 15-2, so it would be a 14 game win streak.
Yeah.
That's scary taking that like 14 game win streak going into the playoffs, like the pressure that you got to hold. Like, oh my God, we won 14 straight. Now what? And I don't know if it's because of the 2012 team or like you've seen it with history or just me being superstitious, but it's almost like sometimes a loss here or there is
Mm-hmm.
what teams need to like really regroup and buckle down.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we're gonna win out anyways, but I'm just kind of throwing that out there too. Is like you never know, man. Like it's scary going into a game with a 14 game win streak,
No,
and but now it's like, oh, if the streak ends, your season ends.
right.
So
No, for
yeah,
sure.
I don't know.
No, I understand that for sure. And I mean, I think that's a good kind of pull into kind of giving this schedule a look here, because the Broncos certainly do not have the easiest schedule in these final five. I mean, you've got three divisional matchups, two of them on the road, one of them coming up this Sunday, 2:05 kickoff window, which it's going to be nice to not have to stay up late before I got to get up at like 5:15 in the morning and go stock beer all day.
Mhm.
So that'll be nice. But you got the Raiders in Vegas. Broncos have won that game, and I think the Broncos are. I think they're a better team than they were even in that Raider game. All because, and
Yeah.
we were talking about this earlier, because Bo Nix is playing more consistently now. He's getting his feet set. That was, I think, the biggest problem he had against the Raiders on Thursday. We got Green Bay at Mile High. Green Bay's been a weird team, although they have looked really, really good these last few weeks. Especially on Thanksgiving, man. Green Bay's getting scary. You get the Jags at home as well. I still don't know what to make of the Jags, despite the fact that they are now the leaders of the AFC South.
Totally. Very confusing team.
Yeah, no, extremely. You get then you got to go to Arrowhead on Christmas, and how sweet would it be? Think back almost 10 years ago, Christmas 2016, that stupid fucking Dontari Poe play, excuse my French, where they throw the touchdown to what's his nuts in the back of the end zone to make it like 35-10 to eliminate the Broncos from the play. How sweet would it be? And maybe we don't need the defensive lineman touchdown pass, but how sweet would it be for the Broncos to crush the Chiefs' hopes on Christmas, just like they did to us, man? Could you
Oh, it'd be
imagine?
amazing. It would be an amazing Christmas gift, man. My Christmas has been ruined quite a bit by football.
Mm-hmm.
Last time it was Christmas Eve, but even that when the Patriots came to town, they were a terrible team, and we let them beat us to essentially
Oh,
eliminate us, and that was ended up being Russ's last game. So I guess it was a
yeah.
blessing in disguise. But my goodness, man, like just absolutely crushed my Christmas, absolutely. So yeah, it would be amazing to eliminate Kansas City. It would be even, for me personally, it would be even more amazing if the game didn't mean all that much.
True.
But because I could really just relax a little bit. But it's inevitable. Like it's going to be a very important game.
Yeah.
But eliminating Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes from the playoffs on Christmas. That's not just a gift for Broncos fans. That's the entire NFL outside of Chiefs Kingdom. So I'm
Straight
all
up.
for that. That would be amazing.
No, that would be that would be the best Christmas ever.
Yep.
100%. But yeah, so kind of going off of that. So you do get Kansas City, you got to go to Arrowhead, and then you get the Chargers week 18 at home. In a game that hopefully means nothing. There's still not a scheduled time on that either. So that's a game that could get flexed one way or another. I mean, the Chargers are going to be weird. I mean, you got to keep your eye on them, especially with all the injuries, especially with Herbert hurt now as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's a rough go for him. So to kind of close this thing out, let's kind of give the AFC just the playoff picture a look here. We'll kind of go down here. You got the Pats in the 1, obviously. Broncos 2, we've been talking about that. Jags in the 3 right now. The Colts are kind of crumbling just a little bit, and that has also made my graphics person very sad. We got the Ravens in the 4, and that division's a mess. In the AFC North, the Chargers in the 5 still. They're clinging on. They're not looking awful right now. They're 8-4 with the rest of the AFC. You got the Colts in the 6, Bills clinging to the 7 right now with barely a game, or just the game over Houston, at 7-5. Houston does hold that tiebreaker. Pittsburgh is falling off a cliff. They started the year 4-1. They're 6-6. They're dying as it stands, and that we'll talk about the North in a second because I want to hear your thoughts on my idea on that. Chiefs in the 10 at 6-6. They're only a game above the Dolphins, man. Like, what are we talking about? Bengals 12,
Crazy.
Jets 13, and the Browns 14. And these are the technically alive teams, whether they're basically eliminated or not. These teams are technically alive. Not for much longer, but they are quote unquote alive. But there's one team down here in this bottom 3 of these teams that are alive that I think is really intriguing now that they've got their guy back, man. Tell you what, dude, if the Bengals go on a run and win the North, first off, how crazy would that be? Second, how scary do you think the Bengals could potentially be? They get a home game in the wild card. That's their only way in.
Yeah, I mean, dude, anytime you got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, on a roster, it's scary. It's like it's their strength is offense, our strength to be defense. Yeah, I mean, they would be a tough play, and people were saying about them last year, like if they ended up sneaking in instead of us, the kind of noise that they potentially could have made. So it's a big possibility, for sure. I think ideally, Baltimore and Bengals don't make it, and Pittsburgh wins the division. In an ideal world, because that's kind of the team I'm least scared about. But yeah, right. But I think, man, I think the Bengals could certainly make a run. I also think, like, dude, I don't know if you've taken a look at the Chargers schedule.
Ooh,
but
no,
they
but I
got
can pull
Philly
that
this
up right
week.
quick. Oh boy.
Yeah, they got Philly, and then they're at KC and at Dallas.
Oh boy.
And then they got
Dallas
Houston.
is playing really good football as well.
And then they got Houston before they come here. So their final 5 games are brutal.
That's a bloodbath right there, man. I guess the good news is you get the Eagles and the Texans at home, but what's that offensive line gonna do against? You look at the Eagles front 7, you look at the Texans pass rush, man. I mean, those could be the 2 games that kind of sink the Chargers ship, so to speak, and especially with a banged up Justin Herbert.
Yep. No, for sure. And then, you also have to remember, like, they don't have the tiebreaker over the Jags. They could lose the tiebreaker over the Texans by losing to them.
Right.
And so I don't think they played Baltimore this year. No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, man. I mean, if they lose to Philly and Kansas City wins, that week 15 matchup between the two of them could, like, absolutely eliminate almost, or make it very, very difficult for one or the other. So yeah, it's a pretty brutal schedule overall. But back to the conference, the Bengals could certainly make a run, man. And I was gonna look and see what their schedule looks like.
I know they play one of those North teams twice, or because they've already
play Baltimore and Cleveland.
Yeah, because they split with the Steelers this year. We got the Icy Hot Bowl. That was a fun game too, by the way. And then as you mentioned, Baltimore, Cleveland, some winnable games, but also given the Bengals' volatility, man. I mean, it's a long shot, but we almost saw them do it last year. I mean, like we said, I mean, they almost got that spot over Denver. They would have had the tiebreaker if Denver had lost another game down the stretch. So I mean, this Bengals team, they've always been capable of making noise. It's just, can they get over themselves to start the year? I don't know if they can dig out of this hole. Not into a wild card spot. I mean the division is still wide open. But we've seen, I mean, I think the biggest question right now is, can the Ravens get their mojo back? Can Lamar get it back together? Which, I mean, history says he should be able to. I think this might be Baltimore's division to lose if they stop shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, just losing to the Bengals last week was wild because
It
that really
was.
opened a lot of things up
I was shocked
for
by
them.
that
It's like,
game.
dude, they worked so hard to get back to, a positive record after what were they 1-5,
Yeah,
and then to be able to kind of let that go really sucked for them, big time. And yeah, I mean, this is a huge game for the Bengals. I mean, they got to go to Buffalo this upcoming week.
mm,
Buffalo is going to be a desperate team. They're coming off,
absolutely.
so I think. I mean, even with Joe Burrow and everybody back, I mean, they always have a chance, but like, I don't know. Like, I feel like, man, if the Bengals beat the Bills, they'll have a really good chance to win out at the end of the year. I think they could beat the Ravens again. They've kind of proven it, and then their schedule from there
For
gets kind
sure.
of cupcake. But it's interesting. It's
It
an
is.
interesting. What I am certain of is this is going to look a lot different in 4 weeks.
I was gonna say, I made a playoff short couple of like a week or two ago, and I was like, yeah, I don't think too much is gonna change about this. I think it's just up to seeding. I look like an idiot now. I look like a complete idiot now.
We just never know, man. The NFL is crazy.
Especially this season, man, and that should have been my first red flag there to be like, well, okay, a lot can change here, but here's where we are now. No, I completely miffed that. I mean, we might have a completely different AFC South winner than we thought through the first eight or so weeks. I mean, I don't know how the Jags do it, but they keep cooking. The Texans are getting hot at the right time, and nobody wants to play
Mhm.
that defense in January. I don't care if you're at
Nope.
home or in Houston, nobody wants to play that defense.
Mhm.
The Broncos have played that defense and come out on top by, maybe the grace of Mile High Jesus over here. But man, no, these
Yep.
last couple of weeks are going to be absolutely incredible down the stretch. I
I mean, the
mean,
Colts went from the 1 seed to the 6 seed in 2
I
weeks.
know that's all it
You know
took
what I
was
mean?
2 weeks, and now the
2 weeks.
Chiefs have leverage over them in the event that those records intersect. Scary,
Yep.
scary stuff. Oh, well, man, it was amazing working with you, Marky. I mean, we tried to hammer this out for a minute. I mean, David, threw me into the Discord. I'm meeting new people. I'm working with new people as well, and I've got my second collaboration under my belt, man. So got a little
Awesome,
bit of
man.
honor there, second collaborator with me. But no, we got to do this again sometime. Absolutely, man.
No, for sure, brother. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out, man, and I'll definitely want to get you on the channel as well whenever we get the opportunity. But keep grinding, guys. Make sure you show this guy some love. I shouted you out on a video that I posted earlier today as well. Make sure we get you some more subs as well. But yeah,
I
Miles, I
appreciate
appreciate
that,
it,
man.
man. I love what you're doing, and it's been great chatting it up with you, man.
Hey man, I appreciate that. Everyone go check out Marky Sports. Go follow him on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, go subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's been doing some outstanding stuff as well. And yeah, man, we got to do this again here pretty soon, whether it's over here with you, man.
No doubt, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for watching. Again, go check him out. Go check out my Instagram. I haven't really shouted that out much. I suck at posting on socials, but it's there. Obviously, subscribe to the channel, like the video, just help get it out to everybody else. And with that being said, man, we'll see y'all later. Yeah, good evening, good afternoon, good night, and go Broncos.
Go Broncos, baby.